What are some different ways to study the Bible? That's a good question, but I've got a better one. How good is your pause game?
So I'm thinking we just gonna pause right here.
Son, these cats are quick. You gotta be quicker.
Hermeneutics is a whole branch of knowledge devoted to how we can study the Bible. It's more than just the Bible. It's a combination of historical documents written by different people at different times, in different places, and in different languages. It tells many small stories baked into a large overarching story. There's poetry, songs, and instructions. But when we study the Bible, rule number one is
context.
Context is when it was written, who wrote it, and to whom it was written.
That it comes from affects the way we view it.
Understanding the context helps you to fully understand the passage. To take a passage out of context is to disregard the original intent and meaning of those verses, making the Bible say things it was never meant to.
You can do anything to anything by taking it out of context, Mr. Schultz.
To the best of your ability, take into account the culture, time period, politics, speaker, etc., because they can all make a big difference. We don't get to cherry pick verses to make them mean what we want to.
You don't have the luxury to pick and choose, Rick.
You guessed wrong.
You only think I guessed wrong. That's what's so funny.
Descriptive text describes an event that happened. Prescriptive text gives instruction or wisdom.
I'm just trying to create the space for wisdom.
Bible study methods can be broken into two broad categories. Book studies often follow a plan, order, or method. Carefully comb through the entire book, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. Beneficially, this method gives ample time to dive deep into the context and understand the world as it was around those passages. You can also more easily discover the flow of a passage and may see it differently.
Guess you didn't see that coming.
Like a favorite movie quote, it's way better in context.
Okay, topical?
Topical studies zoom out. In a topical study, you would pick a topic, word, or theme, then search through the Bible to find all the corresponding references. You're unlikely to stay in just one book of the Bible when you do so.
It's topical and it has resonance.
Pro tip, don't forget about keeping all the passages in context. Changing contexts could really warp the verse's meaning.
Thank you for that fortune cookie from on high.
Actually, doing both methods of a Bible study is the best thing for one's faith. Doing only one method or the other could lead to missing the big picture or forging false doctrine for yourself.
That's just the kind of lame garbage I'd expect from a lost believer.
All scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. Anyone who has studied scripture for any length of time will tell you that the more they study, the more they find to learn.
Your classical education serves as well.
Studying the Bible can be quite intimidating, especially for new believers or those worried about misunderstanding it. But always know this, you are just as capable of studying the Bible as a pastor or anyone you may feel is more spiritual than you. The Bible was meant for all people.
If you would have told me out on the street that the Bible is the happening book that I now think it is, you could have knocked me over with a feather.
That answers your question. What are some different ways to study the Bible? Be sure to like, thumb, sub, and bell.